With here. How y'all doing? If you look over to the far left there, you see this little toy boat, and that's actually the USS Yorktown. Okay, one of the famous aircraft carriers from World War II, fought in the Battle of Midway. I visited the Yorktown, went over the whole ship from engine room to the upper radar rooms on the conning towers, or whatever you call them, on the aircraft carrier, you know, highest point. At the same spot is the there's a submarine, the Conestoga, I believe, and there's also a destroyer, the Laffey. The Laffey has a dubious record of being being attacked by 22 kamikaze aircraft in I guess the Battle of Midway, or I think it was the Midway battle. But anyway, yeah, and it obviously didn't sink. They managed to get the fires under control. So I'm standing on top of the what's it called? It's the Arthur Ravenel Jr. Bridge. It's just crosses the Cooper River heading into Charleston. So that's Patriot Point, where the aircraft carrier is. And I'll just scan around a little bit so you can see images of the rest of the bridge. It's a really fascinating bridge. I just read on the plaque, finished in 2005. You can see it's a massive bridge, and it's really nice because they have a pedestrian way. A lot of cyclists, a lot of pedestrians are using it, so you know, it keeps people fit. But some really neat architecture here. I can spiral it around. What else can we see here? Give you a view here of the other side of the bridge. And yeah, it's a really neat bridge. Unfortunately, I came from the side that's 1 3/4 miles. I should have come on the 3/4 mile side. But anyway, I'm here. It's been, you know, everybody needs a vacation, so I've kind of been relaxing over the last week. So the last two videos that I posted, I filmed just before I left on my trip. Drove down here with the family, and I'll post another video tonight. And did some scuba diving about 12 miles offshore on this four-masted schooner that sank before the Civil War in about 50 feet of water. So all that's left of it really is just a pile of rocks, Portland cement. It looks like, you know, cement rocks forming a reef. The water's 50 feet, like I said, and the reef, the rocks pile up about 10 feet or so, 10-15 feet off the bottom. Lots of fish there. Saw a small shark. Thought it was a nurse shark, sort of burrowed up against the a little hole in the rocks. And lots of octopus, lots of all kinds of fish there. Didn't see any lionfish. That's an invasive species, because as the water is warming from, you guess it, climate change, the fish are kind of, the lionfish species is traveling up, you know, north. Like it used to be found just in the tropics, and now it comes up into the, you know, to these latitudes of South Carolina, Charleston, even further north because of the warming water from climate change. I guess I should talk a little bit about climate change. I will do that so that you know, it fits in with the theme of my other videos and stuff. But you know, everybody needs to relax, and I haven't actually thought about climate too much this week. So maybe you guys know more about what's going on with climate than I do this time. So on the dive on the 12 miles offshore, we had 2 dives. So the first dive went really smoothly. You know, water seemed clear, very little bottom current. But then on the second dive, you know, went in the water with my buddy. This guy, he's a Navy, he's in the Navy. And he had all the kinds of gear and a great computer and compass and stuff. And so, you know, we went in the water, and Jeffrey, we went in the water, and thought, okay, you know, instead of following the anchor rope down to the rock pile, that's all that's left of the schooner, we just descended where we were. And so we went down, got to the bottom, just sand, no sign of the rocks. Now I thought I could see some divers up ahead and the rock pile, so we swam that direction a ways along the bottom, still nothing. You know, we looked around, he got out his compass, we started looking for the wreck that way, still nothing. So finally I decided, well, this is, you know, the best thing to do is go up, swim on the surface back to the boat, and go down again following the anchor line. So I, you know, signaled the thumbs up, right, let's go up. So he wanted to keep doing a bit of compass work, so we did a bit more of that, and then we went up to the surface. And the boat was like friggin' mile, like the boat was way over there. I mean, the earth is curved, right? I mean, we couldn't see the whole boat. Like it was a bit choppy, but the boat was like, it seemed like miles away. So we swam on the surface. And the funny thing is we were about a quarter of the way back to the boat on the surface, just snorkeling. And then these two other divers from our group appeared. I thought they were like a search party out. They saw us maybe surface, but no, they did the same thing. They descended. What happened is the ocean currents picked up from the time of the first dive, and yeah, it made things really murky, and it carried us like a really good distance from the boat. It just shows you that you know, the ocean, things can change on a dime in the ocean. But anyway, it was a good dive, and just earlier today took out my youngest son Edward and his friend Tyler, and we went out about 7 miles offshore. We did some fishing, of course, catching and throwing everything back. He'd never been fishing, let alone ocean fishing. This is my first time ocean fishing. All these trips, you know, the U.S. over the years, and I've never been out. I've always wanted to go deep sea fishing, never have, so this time I did. And we caught a bunch of sharks, believe it or not. You know, like they look like reef sharks or lemon sharks even. You know, the biggest one, so I caught a little tiny one. I don't know, maybe 8 inches long. You know, they bite the hook easily. It's easy to take the hook out and throw them back in. They're fine. The guy, the boat captain, Captain Kevin, said that it was about 3 weeks old. And then Tyson, Edward's friend, caught a one about twice as big as mine. And then he hooked a really big one. He got one about a couple feet long, 15 pounds, probably about 1.5 years. I'll post some pictures along when I tweet out this video. I'll also post some pictures. So that was a lot of fun. It's very hot and humid here. You know, there's signs all over for how people can recognize heat stroke and heat exhaustion, but people here are used to the high humidity. I thought the high humidity was going to finish me off, but it's actually not too bad. The body really does acclimatize. Of course, it's nowhere near the wet bulb temperature, that 35 degrees, 100% humidity, which you know, is a point where your body can't sweat anymore, and you got to be inside. Can't be outside for more than about 6 hours, 8 hours. You get heat stroke. And then heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and you know, it's fatal. So anyway, I suppose I should talk a little bit about climate stuff. You know, of course, psychologically, it's pretty difficult to deal with all this doom and gloom and negative stuff. So make sure you take self-care. You know, go on vacations every so often. You know, enjoy every day, and you know, talk to as many people as you can about the risks and dangers that we face from climate change. So what else is going on? Well, we're coming up to you know, another. Normally, the sea ice minimum is about September 15th, and it's having a dog and pony race right now with 2012. and it's anybody's guess whether it will exceed 2012. It certainly has high momentum, high downward momentum, so we'll see. Last year, the ice minimum was September 21st. It was a whole extra week longer later than the normal one. So if it does that again, I think we've got a very good shot of setting a record minimum. The ice is a lot thinner, that's for sure. So the volume is probably, it's tagging along the record minimum level. And of course, as you know from my other videos and stuff, that when we have this blue ocean event, no Arctic sea ice, the temperature is going to skyrocket in the Arctic. Extreme weather events are going to increase even more in frequency, severity, and duration, maybe even an order of magnitude, which is 10 times. And the world will eventually wake up to the risks that we're facing, and then we need to scramble like crazy to claw ourselves back up the cliff that we've fallen over, the climate cliff. I've also talked a lot about the climate casino idea. Many cities are just succumbing. They're lucking out in the climate casino, and they get nailed with floods or extreme winds or storms. It's only a matter of time when the global food supply is hit. I think some foods are actually going up in price quite a bit because of lack of ability to plant these things. And also I think it looks like we're heading into some sort of global recession. And all of the money people, the experts, will say, oh, it's just one of these cycles, but we're going to have one of these crises in the stock market and financial markets that we're not going to recover from. Whether it be this one or whether it be the next one. But just a couple of days ago, the Dow dropped 800 points in one day. Then it was up, a lot the next day. There's a lot of gyrations. It doesn't matter what the system is, but if you look at system theory, there's a critical slowing down. A lot of people don't understand that before a system breaks. So what it is the frequency of gyration or motions actually decreases. Things slow down, they're more sluggish. As long as things are resilient, they can bounce back, and be very springy if you like, but the springs are starting to deform and starting to break, so the system doesn't recover as easily, so there's a critical slowing down in the response. So this is going to be a real problem. I think you can even see this in the stock markets and stuff. What was I saying again? The critical slowing down. So you can see this in the sea ice as well, in the Arctic sea ice. Right? If you look at the curves of the sea ice, whether it be extent or area or volume, you could look at the variations and the gyrations, the movements up and down. You can see the general trend, and you can see that the movements up and down become of larger magnitude just before the system breaks, basically, before you cross this threshold or this rapid nonlinear change. And I think you can definitely see that in the sea ice extent, but also in a lot of other different things. So this is a problem, I think. So what else is new? Well, the report came out, the IPCC report on land use and climate, soils and things like that. I've seen a few bits and bite drabs from that, but not too much. I'll do a video on it. Also, there's some very interesting stuff going on with methane, so I'll definitely be covering that topic soon. And just to let you know my plans in the next little while. Google Summit of Minds, Chamonix, France. I'll be going there in about a month to be on a panel and to give a talk to it's a lot of movers and shakers, including investment bankers and stuff, and I'll be talking to them all about abrupt climate change. I'm going to go to Santiago in Chile for the COP in December. climate change and teaching people about Earth No School. Okay, thanks a lot for listening. Cheers.